Thanks for coming to the first annual San Diego Comic-Con Artist Elite Panel. We're really happy to be here today to show off our new comics that we got from our publishing company. Today we're going to be talking about Artist Elite Presents. That's our comic book series that we have for 1 month. But first, let's get familiar with who we have on the panel. So first up over here we have Tyler Kirkman. Can you let them know a little bit about yourself?
Sure.
Who are you?
I don't even know who I am anymore.
Yeah, you that guy. You draw.
What do you want?
You draw that stuff, right? With the blood.
Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for coming out here and checking us out. Take a load off. Hang out with us. So I'm Tyler. I've been doing comics for a little while. I'm one of the, I guess, founders of Artist Elite. And it's just a new way for creators to publish their stuff. Like, it's a new avenue for guys like us to share the stories that we want to do, and put them in comic shops, and hopefully you guys enjoy them. It was an idea that me and Ali Garza had. We both had cool stuff that we were creating, and we know there's a few different avenues for us to publish books, like Image and stuff like that, but we were like, well, you know what, we want to do our own thing. We want to tell our own stories. We don't want to have to go through any sort of editorial stuff that is already established. And we linked up with Sean, who was running Comics Elite, and we hooked up with Zen, who's been handling all the dirty work for us. And we just wanted to do our own thing, and we approached different creators like Ben and Chad and Ryan and a bunch of other people and said, hey, do you have any stories that you're developing right now that would be something you would want to produce in like an anthology style series? And so that's kind of how we're starting. I'm just filling you guys in on more than you asked, but
I was going to get to that later.
I'm sorry. Let's. I'm Tyler. Anyways.
Found it. You've been doing
Ben, can you tell us a little bit about
this man can do what he wants. He's one of the founders, right? He can do what he wants. I am Ben Temple-Smith. I've done comics for about 20 years. One of my first projects became a made-to-motion picture you may have heard of called 30 Days a Night. I'm a horror comic guy, mostly creator-owned generally, but I've dabbled in other things. I've done a bit of everything at this point, and then a young man named Brett Booth asked me if I'd like to join this thing. Yeah, Brett Booth, he's amazing. I've never met him in person.
Wish he was here.
Yeah.
We all do.
He asked if I wanted to be part of this little thing, and I said, sure, because I like being open to new things and trying new things, because I don't like the status quo generally. And so I jumped at the chance. And I've met Tyler several times before too, so it's a miracle we put something. And most people, other artists in the group, I'm not terribly familiar with and don't know very well yet, but I'm we're trying to just, for me it was a chance to jump on and recapture a little bit of the anticipation and excitement that I felt when like Image Comics first started releasing their creator-owned stuff. So for me it's a chance to join a new group of artists and do some of that with some of my creator-owned stuff. And I'm shut up now.
Great. And then Sal Regla, can you tell them a little about yourself?
Yes, I'm Sal Regla. I've been around the business for probably over the last 25 years. Brett Rutzinger currently on his project, The Lost Serpent Prince. I was out a little bit away from the industry, but somehow I'm back in, and Brett has been kind enough to have me in his book.
Great. We roped you in, didn't we?
Sure did.
I used to work with Sal like years ago at Top Cow, so it's really cool to be sitting here with him. So we did a lot of work together.
Yeah, it's true. I just want to add another thing. The other day I was looking at the cover, the tribute cover that Brett did, and just those three characters. We spent, a lot of time together, exchanging ideas and over the phone over the years. But also Alejandro Garza is one of my favorite artists to ever work on.
And,
so
yeah, you worked
for all three of you guys,
yeah.
To have your characters next to one another, and for me to have them, it was like a special time for me.
Great. And then Chad, can you tell us what you've been working on?
I'm Chad Harden. I'm probably best known for my work on Harley Quinn. It's been a little while now. But Ali Garza and I met here at Comic-Con San Diego, and we were like booth buddies. You know, like Artist Alley is pretty stagnant a little bit. Like once you have a booth there, like whoever's next to you is gonna be next to you for years. And so Allie and I were friends, like we sat next to each other for years. And then Tyler and I both live in Utah, and there's like, what, 5 comic people in Utah?
That's exaggerating.
Yeah, I think, so it's like Tyler, Ryan, me, and then
Yeah, that's true.
Sal Regla, yeah. And anyway, so, you know, it's sort of a small world, and Allie and Tyler are like, hey, Chad, you got a book you want to do? I'm like, heck yeah, you know, so then I was in. And and so here I am. We're having a good time.
Awesome. And Ryan Kincaid,
They paid me to be here. So. No, I'm generally known for doing like pinup work and alternative or variant covers for different companies, or as Chad called it, what was it, the Stabby Rabbity guy? Stabby Bunny?
Stabby Rabbity is a way better name.
Stabby Rabbity.
It's Stabby Bunny, but I'm like, dude, you missed an opportunity. It should be Stabby Rabbity.
He's coming back, by the way. And I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't get asked to be in this group. I kind of forced my way into it. I produced some books on my own as it was already, and when I found out what these guys were doing, I literally hit up Allie and was like, yo, like, I want in. Like, I want to see what these guys are doing. I grew up checking out all his work, Tyler's work, Brett's work, Chad's work. So for me, it was a great idea to see all of these guys work together and how they do interiors and stuff. When I jumped in, I was specifically on covers. I only did interiors once. So I can see how these guys have evolved. And as they're putting stuff in these files we see, I can up my own game, hopefully. Because once you do a page and then you see what Ben puts in, or in most cases for us, it's what Brett puts in.
Yeah.
Damn. All right, I gotta do something different because Brett just knocked all of us out.
And that's actually another thing that I really loved about this possibility with Artist Elite is a lot of them, a few of us came from that studio environment with Top Cow, Wildstorm, whatever it may be, and you really do try to, I guess, one up the guy next to you, or
Yeah.
you know, in the book that's coming out that same month, and we are kind of capturing that, I feel, right? Like, especially with issue 1 here, like it looks beautiful, and I don't know if you guys had a chance to get to the comic shop this week, but it just came out, but I at least wanted to bring a few and at least, you know, let these guys see them. And this is our Artist Elite Presents series. It's like an anthology, so there's three stories, and we have any slides or anything like that? I'm sorry. I should have, yeah.
Back to you, Zen.
Anyways, so I'm the editor then. I've been making comics for about 15 years, mostly editing comics on the indie scene, and best known for being the staff letter at Aspen Comics since 2016. So yeah, so we're going to talk about our book here. But first, real quick, we have our preview issues that came out in June, Primer Red and Primer Blue. There would be an image right there, but it's not coming up. That was our preview book. We had 4 pages of each everybody's story there for everyone to check out and see what it will be. And then this week, July 19th, the first issue came out, like Tyler was saying, with 3 different stories in there. Oh, there we go. All right, so there's the cover to Primer Red. That one had 6 of the characters that we'll be introducing. We'll be going over a lot of these in a minute. And then we also have Primer Blue right there. And then what came out on Tuesday was Artist Elite Presents 1. So that is our ongoing anthology monthly series. Every issue will have 3 stories that are 8 pages from each creator. The first issue has part 1 of Lost Serpent Prince, Final Boss, and Sandwiches, which you can see right there on the cover. And first up, we're going to talk a little bit about Final Boss. That was a Kickstarter that began it.
Oh, nice little trailer. Wi-Fi connection here, I'll tell you what, right?
Yeah.
That's the $80 Wi-Fi.
Just kidding.
Okay, while that's loading up,
Yeah, let's talk about Final Boss.
so yeah, what he was saying is, that is my creator-owned project that I'm obviously developing here. And I started with a crowdfunding campaign, and I just maybe thought that I would continue doing that, or I would pitch it around to different publishers. But then that's kind of the moment where I was like, why would I pitch this to other publishers? Why the heck wouldn't I just publish this myself? And that's when we started kind of, the gears started turning, and I knew there was others like me that had stuff. Like
There's no one like you.
I knew that Chad was developing stuff. Like Ryan had his book that he was developing. Like there was a group of people that I knew that was there that maybe had there are things that they were slowly developing that they were like me. They didn't quite know what they were going to do with them, and I was like, if I start this thing, maybe I can get them to jump in and be part of this. Give them a resource, like give them like a network of other artists and creators that they can kind of go to or talk to or team up with. So that's kind of how this came about. And Final Boss is, I have the volume 1 out available like on my website currently, and I'm continuing it through the Artist Elite publisher. So that's how you'll be able to continue reading the story. And my first volume or first pages for the next volume is in Artist Elite, but that's number 1, which is in stores right now. So
Can you tell us a little bit about the story?
yeah, so it's Final Boss is basically everything that I loved as a kid, just thrown into a book. Like I love, fighting games, like beat 'em up video games. I love like 90s action films like Bloodsport, Kickboxer, Van Damme stuff, and I love comic books. So it's like I'm gonna tell an action adventure story the way I want to, and hopefully people like it. So I'm really throwing in like everything that I want to show, that I want to draw, that I want to tell, the stories I want to tell, and I'm just letting people come along for the ride. And it's going to be a 10-volume story where he's got to get through 10 bosses and work his way up the ladder as he's developing his powers and discovering who he is and how he gained these abilities, and you get to see some really, really cool characters and bosses that he gets through. And one other thing that I loved about like you guys remember those X-Men cards where it had all the statistics and everything on the back of them?
Yep.
I love that. I love like the attributes, the strength, the stamina, how much they weigh. Like that's the stuff that I really wanted to do. So Tommy, who's the main character, he is leveling up, and you get to see him as he defeats a specific boss. He might gain some strength if that character is really strong, or some different abilities, or XP, I guess. And he's just leveling up, and he's trying to find out like who he is and who is the final boss, basically.
All right, well, let's check out our next trailer. Is Lost Serpent Prince by Brett Booth, and then inked by our guest here, Sal Regla, and colored by Andrew Dalhouse. Sal, why don't you tell us a little bit about working on Lost Serpent Prince?
Actually, honestly, it's been a dream come true to come back into the industry and work with Brett. I had inked and worked with him at Wildstorm for so many years, and he just kind of asked me back in. I didn't really know how much I was going to enjoy, getting back into the business. I miss it every now and then, but once I started inking his pages, I realized, how much I missed that. And inking over Tyler, I guess, it was the same as inking on Brett, because there was so much on the page, and I missed that. Once I dove back into it, it just kind of all, kind of fell into place. Inking Tyler all those years, and Brett, And so I decided to stay. We did some issues of Spawn, and now I'm 100% into this project. It's been honestly a dream come true. I couldn't imagine doing anything else right at this moment.
And can you tell us a little bit about the story?
I cannot tell you because Brett and I does not communicate that part.
You can read it now.
He's like, hold on, let me see.
Yes, I need.
Maybe next year he'll break it down.
Yes.
Now the prince, he's a serpent, and he wears a red thing.
Yes.
He has red hair.
He's like, you guys know as much as I
Yes.
It looks cool as hell.
It does.
You need to know.
It is. So we got a page right there that you can see that's done. That's in the issue that came out just right now. And then we got an exclusive sneak peek at some sketches from Brett Booth right over there. This is the type of stuff that Sal works with right there. You can see how much detail is on there. Sal, can you tell us a little bit more about inking Brett Booth?
Yeah, it's very time consuming as you can see, but it's something that is just like, to me, inking Brett and Tyler, although I'm not sure if you still do this, but there's so much on the page, and a lot of people would be intimidated by that. To me, it was just, you just kind of just get loose in the work, and I know there's this hypnotic effect of driving. I don't know if you guys feel that. You just start driving from one place to another. And that's just how I feel. I enjoy it so much that I just start, I get up, I have to go pick up my kids from school, and it's just kind of a drag, Oh no, I have to go pick up the kids, but I just want to get back and get to it. There's a lot of detail. He's very kind in terms of what he allows me to do. He allows me to interpret his work and put new twists and, because there's so much on the page, I feel like as if I inked everything the same way, it would just be like a giant pattern. So just to kind of break it down a little bit, if in terms of the rendering, I try to use different lines and different techniques so that it'll fool, the page. It's just a true joy to work with him. He's a very nice guy as well. If everybody should get to know him, he's very humble, and I'm really, really happy that he has achieved the status that he has because he has worked so hard for a long time in the business. I remember, breaking into the industry. I think I was the third or fourth guy that Jim Lee hired at Wildstorm. So through all this time, through the nearly 30 years now, it's been a great experience working with him. I'm going to try to bug Tyler right now here to get a piece for me so that I can ink it.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny as you talk about Brett. Like I think probably everyone here, and just obviously all of us, like we have been dying to see another creator-owned book from him. We all love like Backlash and stuff like that. And so I was like, I feel like we got so lucky, like because he had this book that he was working on. He's got tons of material already done. So he could have went out and published it tomorrow or whatever, you know what I mean? And I think we just got kind of lucky on approaching him and him just being willing to let us produce the books for him. So because he's got a lot of really amazing stuff that we've seen already. So and he's got other stuff that he wants to do too after this. So that's what I'm excited about.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, I'm excited to see I'm excited for you guys to see it. So.
All right, and then I also have to mention Sandwiches. That was the third story in Artist Elite Presents #1. That was by Ali Garza and colored by Sanju. This is an amazing cover done by CC Dela Cruz. And then we're going to get into issue #2 next. Here's another page of Sandwiches. This is the cover right here that Tyler did with colors by CC Dela Cruz. We have Dark Skulls. Freddie Williams Belong, who I have to mention, could not make it here today. He was planned to be here, but he couldn't be here. But his story is in issue 2, as well as Ryan's Seraph and the Seven.
That's the first time I've seen that. It's my own character drawn by someone else. I'm not used to that. That's amazing. It actually looks good for a change.
Why are you saying these guys?
I know, that's what I need to be doing.
Our goal is for me and
check the email.
And Ali Garza to do a cover for each issue. That just because we want to release characters, and then we have cover EC&D as well by the other artists. So.
Here's the cover that Ben did for issue number 2.
You want me to talk?
Please, tell us about Dark Skulls.
All right, I did Dark Skulls. I'm doing Dark Skulls because they're dark and skulls are cool.
Yes.
It's basically me channeling the enthusiasm I had for the early Image books when everyone was bringing out their own superhero teams. I've never been a superhero guy generally. I'm known for horror stuff mostly, so I was a little bit too young to join the whole Image thing back during the good times. A little younger. So I decided to make my own superhero team as if I was one of those early Image books in my way, in my own way. And of course, because it's me, they have to be more gothy. They all generally hate each other. They're all abhorrent human beings. But they're all immortal, but they come together because ultimately they know they have to be decent people. And there's worse people than them out there, and they know that, so they have to come together, solve some of their differences, and deal with some of the past relationships they've had with each other, because it gets a little messy. One of the characters is Australian. His name's Bad Pain, which is a BDSM term. I don't know much, but I took it from there. He's a deplorable human. Well, kind of human. He has big smokestacks on his back. But it's my chance to draw some Aussie characters, which I never get to do. I'm putting Australians into it because I am Australian. And there's an overall big threat that's intergalactic in nature, shall we say, that is to do with all life on the planet. But they're immortal, and there's a whole thing about that.
How long is this story do you plan to?
Well, I gotta find out. Probably at least a mini-series worth of regular issues worth, so at least 120 pages.
Okay.
But I plan on it not ending that way either. There'll be more more stories, more villains. Yeah, I can't wait to introduce the villains. So yeah, the good guys look bad enough. So that's they're all generally from different parts of history. So that's Mirrodin, which is he's actually Merlin, the original guy who was Merlin. Oh, cool. But he's that ancient. He's mostly just skull and bones now. But he's held together by magics and some life force and magics of the planet. So cool. And there's Winter, who's a lady. She's Russian, I think, originally, and she has pestilence type power stuff. She's all into diseases. Bad Pain is just a brute, strong guy. He's my version of Lobo, and the Hulk rolls into one. The more pain he feels, the stronger he gets. So he likes pain. He's a sick prick. And Vindictus is like an ancient Roman guy. Oh, and there's Raw, who's a guy from an ancient empire in Africa, and he has lion tattoos. The end.
There we go.
I'm looking forward to it.
So here's Freddy's cover for issue number 2 for Belong. This is some of the character sketch from him right here. And then also we have in issue 2, Ryan Kincaid's The Seraph and the Seven. Ryan, can you tell us a little bit about Seraph and the Seven, please?
Sure. I'm trying to figure out if it's Seraph or Seraph now.
Oh, Seraph.
I think it's Seraph.
Yeah.
But because it actually means angel, so it could be Seraph.
Well, I think of fonts when I think of Seraph.
I don't know. What?
And this is the cover right here.
It's a Seraph for
Well, in LA.
Because there's no hurricanes in Utah.
So I already produced a couple books, and when I bribed Ollie to let me in, he was basically, you can't do what you're already doing. You have to create something new. So I was looking at what everybody else who was on the roster, because at this point we have no idea what anyone's doing. Except for I think I knew Tyler was continuing Final Loss. And I was sitting with Ollie at a show, and he was like, here, this is what I'm doing, and showed me Dylan, who looked like a big pickle. But you look at the roster, and you're like, Brett Booth, superheroes. Tyler Kirkham, superheroes. Ollie Garza, known for superheroes. Chad Harden, Harley.
Sort of a superhero.
Someone on there. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to be the idiot that jumps in and does more superhero stuff, because then you're definitely low man on the totem pole. I knew Ben's worked with all the horror stuff, and I honestly kind of got tripped out.
And I did superheroes.
Superheroes. You figured I had a chance. It threw me off when I saw Freddie was doing his book, because it's got a lot of the darker tones. There's zombie dogs stuff. I was watching all sorts of different shows at the time. I got stuck on Supernatural. I I never watched the show before. And my wife and I were sitting there talking, and she basically was like, why don't you do something a little more on that line? I don't really dive in with religion and stuff, but I basically was thinking, okay, if there's one person, like one last hope to come in, we're going to call him Luke Skywalker. Seraph is basically like the last of the first angels created. Last line of defense. There's no, we're not going to say God or whatever, but he's the first ones made. He's the last ones they put in. Lucifer is letting loose the seven deadly sins, but they're people. They're personified. So it really starts out with this character falling back into Earth, not knowing what's going on, what time frame he's in, and finding his way through the fact that humanity is, no matter who you are, good, bad, whatever, everyone has some sort of sins, and trying to hunt, how do you hunt down specific sins in a sinful world? So you follow him in the first issue, without giving too much away. He's going to go after one of the sins. Sins finds him, and you realize he's really not much more than a mortal until he finds certain things that make him this ultimate angel. I mean, I can go on, but I'll stop.
You know, we are getting to like the 15-minute mark, so we need to get to Chad right now and let him talk about some Death Watch for us.
What? Or we can just let Ryan.
No, we're good.
So, DC. Worked for DC for 14 years. And the whole time working at DC, they just tell you what you can't do. You can't do sci-fi, you can't do fantasy. I've been to so many meetings where they're like, we want properties like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, and Game of Thrones, but you can't do fantasy. And I'm like, who hired these people? You know, anyway. And it's funny though, because you're in the meeting, you're looking around, you're like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But everyone's in the meeting just like, if we get through this meeting, we can have drinks afterwards. So, you know, and don't get me wrong, I love DC, they've treated me very well, but this is my chance to basically do a comic where DC Legal doesn't step in at the end of the day and basically strip it out of everything that's fun. You know, Jimmy and I have been trying for years to get a black label Harley book with all the jokes that were intact before DC Legal got a hold of it. But so this is just like, I'm gonna do everything that DC didn't let me do. And I'm working with my friend Jared. We've been kicking around this idea forever. We're both huge Castlevania fans, and we're like, what if we went and did sort of like a mashup between like Castlevania, Hammer Horror, and we just put everything in it that we want to put in it. And it's going to be completely over the top, lots of gore. Yeah, it's going to be a hard R. So
Harden R.
that's right. That's what I'm going to call my fan group, the hard-ons. Danny's like, I'm out. Oh, we can't? Oh, okay. You know what, though? That slings out of, no one says that anymore. That's right, we can do it. Anyway, so we're telling some classic vampire tales, and we're putting just a little bit of a spin on it. I don't know if you've ever watched the old Hammer Horror, Tales of Dracula, whatnot. Everything gets solved when, you know, the priest shows up and, you know, the vampire just sort of crumbles. We're playing it a little bit differently where religion really doesn't have power over these forces. So I guess you could say it's going to be a little bit more secular, but you'll see how the mythos behind like things like the crucifix and its ability to banish vampires, like how that all sort of creeps into the lore. So anyway, it's almost like just our version of vampires. And that will be the first arc, and if that does well, that first graphic novel does well, we have other monsters. We have werewolves, we have demons, we have whatever, so that's the plan.
Nice. So this is the cover Ali Garza did for issue number 3. So that has part 2 of Lost Serpent Prince. So come back for part 2 of Lost Serpent Prince in issue 3, which will be out September 27th. Like I said, we have Deathwatch in there, and we also have the debut of Jordan Gunderson's Apotheosis. And then after that, the following month, we'll have issue 4. So issue 4 will have the return of Final Boss, part 2. It will have the return of Sandwenches, part 2, and the return of Seraph and the Seven, part 2. So that is where we're at right now with Artist Elite Presents. The first 4 issues, giving you guys a breakdown of who's going to be in the issues. The people that we announced in the initial run will have their debuts coming out issue 5 forward. All right.
So this time next year, we're gonna have a lot of cool stuff to
Oh,
talk about.
so it's going to be an antho. This is going to be monthly, right?
Monthly.
And the stories are going to slowly change in each one.
Pretty
The
much,
following
yeah,
one,
rotate. And
Yeah.
then,
So
and
expect
then,
one a month. Yeah.
yeah, and then what we'll probably do after that is we'll have
Full issues.
full issues. Yeah, we'll be able to put out full issues or graphic novel or however we want to collected editions basically of all the material that we have, new covers and new content in those. It all depends on what the creator wants to do. If the creator wants to continue telling their story like this in the anthology series, they can. If they want to jump over and they've got a ton of content and they think they can put out a monthly issue, they're more than happy, they're more than welcome to do that. In fact, we've got a couple of other creators we're working with right now that they want to release theirs in just
Say
regular.
anything yet?
Yeah, but
I like
that is an option. That is an option. You know what I mean? So we have we're very open to working with creators, however fits them best, really.
All right, so we're pretty much at the 10-minute mark. Do you guys want to add anything before we try to maybe entertain some questions?
No, I think we should probably use the.
Pre-order the books. It's really important.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
definitely.
Definitely, yes.
Ask your retailers.
Yes, we are available through Lunar distribution, so tell your comic book store to order us through Lunar. All right, looks like we have a question right here.
That was my question.
Oh.
I told my local comic book store, I didn't see you in previews.
Yes.
So I said, just give me all the covers of all of the issues. And so I got them all except Brett's. That didn't come into him. But that was my question. How do we order?
Yeah, just go to your comic book store. They should have access to Lunar and just tell them to order it for you. And if not, they need to fix it on their end.
And if for some reason you can't find it, we are trying to add everything to the Artist Elite website. And then we'll also be offering exclusives from some of the creators as well.
Just from there. Just for the
yeah,
outside. Yeah.
Well, I mean, unless they have their own
Absolutely.
website, yeah. Like I sell my Final Boss exclusives on my website. Like I had a primer blue exclusive variant that I was limited to 100 that I sold just on my website. So the creators can do that if they want to, or they can.
I'm gonna.
Yes, you can absolutely. You can sell them wherever you want. That's cool. You can take them to conventions. You can have them at your table, or you can utilize the Artist Elite Comics website where they can utilize that to sell the exclusives there as well. And we're going to be doing whatnot sales eventually, and we've got some other cool stuff too. So
What's that?
Yes, what about digital copies of the books? Is that something?
That's not in our plan for right now. Right now, we're heavily supporting a print comics. So we like print comics, we like holding the comics, and there's something about having that tactile feel. We all understand that digital is a big avenue of distribution. But for right now, we have no plans of doing anything digital. So please go to your comic book store and pick up the issues.
we want these to be collectibles. We really, really love the idea of getting a group of creators together, putting out unique stories, and then being collectibles, and you guys to be able to have them and keep them, and we just wanted to support comic shops too. I mean, we chose. I mean, I did my first volume of Final Boss 2 at Indiegogo, but then I really wanted to have books in shops. Okay, I really, really love that. Obviously, a lot of us we still buy our comics in shops, and we did that with, people did that with Image Comics, and there was something special about that. And I just think that was the way for us to go. We wanted to support the comic shops, and in return, they would support us. So that's what we're trying to do.
Nice. Any other questions from the audience?
Which, by the way, I want to give these sketches a way to do
We got,
it.
they've been sketching the whole time, you
If you
guys.
guys are asking good questions, we'd love to get.
You got a question right here?
Yes, for Sal. The way the industry's been evolving, how do you feel about the digital inking versus the traditional?
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, well, for me, I don't think that there's any way I could go back to traditional inking because I like the medium so much that to be able to ink digitally. I know that for some people it's an issue because then you're not able to have resale value on your work, but for me, it's very versatile. It's easy for me to go to my son's soccer game or to my daughter's play and fill in backgrounds or do some issues. So I also think there's so many ways and so many issues so many ways that you can go in terms of like the textures that you can put on backgrounds, zipper-tones, which were difficult. I remember a while back when I was working on Ed Bennis at Wildstorm, he would ask for some zip-tones and you didn't have a way of knowing which was going to be the right zip to put on the page. So we just had this issue with Brett not so long ago where, I mean, again, he's very gracious in how much latitude and how much he allows to interpret for me to interpret his work. But it's easy for me to put any kind of texture on the background. If we could go on the monitor, I could probably show you guys some stuff, but I can just quickly send him a JPEG of the work and he can just say yes or no, or that works or doesn't work, or can we get a better texture on that? So for me, it's been a really good experience. There's also kind of a little bit of mechanical, biological issue with me because I broke my arm about 15 years ago, so when I came back, I was a very loose inker as I came into the business when I was working at Wildstorm. But after that, I think when we started working on that Spider-Man issue, I don't know if you remember, I broke my arm, but when I came back, my work was, I want to call it stiff, well maybe it was, but it was a lot more clean. And this medium, the digital inks allow me to get back that looseness in my work and that fluidity that was gone. So in some ways, I think that, for me specifically, and that's the only person I can speak of, is I don't think I could go back to traditional inking, but digital inking is, for me, the best, and it's really, the way to go for me.
Okay, and then we got a question over here.
Yeah, I really love seeing the works in progress, the pencils and the black and white versions of all your work. I think you're all phenomenal artists. Is there any plans to do like artist edition sizes or oversized, showing works in progress, showing black and white, showing raw pencils?
What do you think, Tyler?
I do a live stream every, I say every, I try to do one every Friday, but if I'm at a show, like obviously I'm here in San Diego, can't do it from here, but and I usually just drop my pages right there on that live stream, so you can watch the whole process if you want.
That's also what the primer red issues were, or the primer red and blue issues were kind of behind the scenes, little look inside of what, our project. So that's, because we love that stuff too. I think as artists, like we know what we like, so we're just gonna show people that stuff.
The ash cans, remember
Yeah,
that? From
that's kind of what the
I
primer
love
red
that.
and blue, those are kind of like ash cans. We were considering making them small actually, but we just decided it'd be better for comic shops to have them regular size. By the way, I see you hiding right there, Dylan. Yeah, he actually did the cover for Final Boss for me.
Oh, nice.
Hey, everybody. He's
Do
a
we-
great artist himself, so.
Do we have any other questions? Right there?
Retailer exclusive covers?
Yes.
Are you guys open to that?
Come see me afterwards, I'll give you my card, we'll get it going.
So the answer is yes, right? What about any kind
Yes.
of returnability program for retailers?
So that is something that we explored in the beginning, but right now there's no plans, but that is something that we do want to do at some point in the future. I think it's important that we can do that at some point. So please stick around and maybe we can accommodate for you real soon.
Awesome.
All right, right over here.
Do you plan to do any like shared universe stuff, or are all the stories gonna be individual or something?
That's up to you guys to answer that one.
I don't know. I think a lot of them can cross over, so it's just a matter of will it work out? Can we make it work out with each other? I know for the most part, everyone gets along pretty well.
We've
I'm
talked
sure,
about it, for
yeah,
sure.
I'm sure at some point, once characters are familiarized with the readers, I'm sure you'll see something pop up here and there.
So yeah, so the people who asked the questions are gonna get it. We had 1, 2, we had 3, we had 4. There we go.
Something you said, I really appreciated. You talked about how when you worked for DC, there were all these limits put on you, and now you've got this opportunity to work without limits.
Yeah.
That said, do you have a way to check each other? Do you have an editing process where somebody looks over your stuff? You
Zen.
have a friend
They
look
tell
over
me.
it?
Do they really?
No, they just tell me what I should have done better.
Oh, okay.
Don't use this word.
Zen's our editor, and then, you know, I'm married, so the boss tells me what.
That's got to be great freedom to have, though.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
But it's not Artist Elite to tell me no.
Yeah.
So
But they have complete freedom to do whatever they want. So as far as editorial control that way, it's up to them. Editorial control is very minimal.
I mean, we do have some restrictions.
Yeah, I mean,
I've-
We said no nudity to everyone, but.
Really?
Mine doesn't have, I don't have tentacles.
We've been covering we've been putting smoke all over this. Skeletal movies.
I haven't done anything.
Mine just has no genitals.
all right, well, that's our time right there. And thank you guys for coming. We really appreciate you guys coming out to the first annual San Diego Comic-Con.